it's the idea of being emotional on the internet, kind of having this new age type of thing, but also like just like I don't know, just like it's a part of like the angst of the band a little bit.
This is Rob Ruckus.
Hey, this is Kate Clover.
Hey guys, it's Nick Collins here from The Effect and Better Strangers.
Hi, my name is Madeline Rose.
Hey, it's Ben McKelvey.
It's Tim Howard here from Mike and the Mechanics.
Hello, I'm Amanda Lehman.
I'm Billy Harvey.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Casey Sampson from the band Twist Stop.
Hey, it's Tony from Fastball.
Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Mitchell.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from the White Lakes.
You're listening to Almost Famous Magazine.
Come join us for this interview. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to The Hang right here on Almost Famous Magazine. Tonight, we are going to have a Hang First. We're bringing you an entire band. Connecticut's own Internet Tears are here with us. We got Daniel Lewis on vocals. We got drummer Zach Apuso, guitarist Esteban Rivera, and locking in the rhythm with Zach bassist Mikey Feliciano. And if I didn't know better, it's the law firm of Lewis, Apuso, Rivera, Feliciano. All right, because these guys, if this doesn't work out, maybe you guys go into law practice together. So thanks for hanging with us tonight, and this is going to be a lot of fun. And since this is our first one with a whole group of people, let's see what we can make, what kind of magic we can make happen. Just to give everybody who's joining us tonight an idea, you know, Internet Tears has been like described as like this nostalgic nod to pop rock. Although I think you got a little tinge of punk in there from what I've been listening to. Some synth punk, synth wave, bands from the 80s, 90s. I will tell you, after listening to you guys, you're definitely finding some roots from about 20 or some odd years ago, maybe 30 years ago. But you're also honoring influences like Neon Trees, the 1975, some modern acts, and you're bringing it all together. It's like a really tasty stew, or for Zach, your grandma's sauce. Guys, thank you for joining us. It's good to meet all of you.
Great to meet you too, Scott.
Yeah, that was a hell of an intro.
Well, thank you. We go big here at The Hang. Here's the deal. You can't believe everything you read on the internet. So we're going to go back to the beginning of the band. Okay? How did Internet Tears get started? And what were your creative thoughts when thinking about like a musical direction for the band? Who wants to take that first? Everybody gets to contribute.
I'll take it on because I started the band. It's his band. It's my band. No, well, you know, let's talk like a little bit about the prequel of the band. And Mikey's a part of the journey, you know. Mikey and I have been in bands for over a decade, you know. And, you know, we've started off with more like post-hardcore music, heavier music. I was a screamer and a singer, and we've always been that band in that scene for many years as like the band with the singing in it. You know, we weren't just always heavy, you know. And we ended up being in this band from New York City, and we kind of formed it together, me, Mikey, and two others from New York City called Radiate. And we were in that band for many years, and at the time of, you know, being in that band for quite a while, I started like finding different music and learning, like just finding, you know, growing up and just learning and having different kind of inspirations. And I think during the time I was writing the music was around like 2019, 2020. We all know that how that time was, you know, and I had a lot of time to myself to create music, and it was really just like me in my room type of thing, you know, just creating these ideas of what I could like produce at a level that actually sounded good. You know, because like I couldn't make metal music. Like I couldn't produce that type of music. I could produce whatever Internet Tears is, you know, which is a hybrid of a couple things. I feel like how you started off, you know, the The hangout was literally exactly what encompasses the band, very much so. So, you know, with that said, you know, having this other type of music that I was writing and passionate about, I was writing a couple songs for Radiate, but I was just kind of like, I don't want to change them or push them to now we're gonna be a different band. It doesn't make sense, you know. So I always had this idea that like it was like my thing, you know, and like I came out with a song and a couple other small things on the internet. It was just like for the art of it. That's all Internet Tears was, just creating music. So that was the only reason why it even ever existed. And the funny thing was, everything that kind of happened, the reason why we're together was because of the internet. I met Zach on the internet, on Facebook, you know, and then I posted my very first song, which was Death and His Friends. And we ended up doing an awesome re-release with Black Bell Records, kind of like full whole circle thing, you know, with what we did this year with revamping it. But, and, you know, we have this thing where, you know, like Mikey ends up always finding his way back into the bands. We're a team, you know, like it's always like, you know, like around us, we're around a lot of musicians. But me and Mikey, I don't know, we're for us and who we know and who we hang out with, we're the ones that like, not the last standing musicians by any means, but like we've only known each other for this long, you know, like I couldn't tell you like back in Black Rock or anybody that I've known for over 10 years like that, you know, and like done music and all this type of stuff. So that's, I feel like it's a part of, you know, why, you know, Mikey and I are you know, still doing music and he's in the bands, and it's kind of the reason like of how it kind of came to be. I mean, that's a small synopsis. I'll let, you know, other people talk.
So I joined the band last year, and the funny thing is that me and Mikey were at an open mic at this incredible place called Park City Music Hall here in Bridgeport. And if you ever get a chance to listen to music there, it's a great place. I definitely recommend it. But me and Mikey were at an open mic, and it was my time to go up. And I was like, you know what, Mikey, come up with me. And we had our other friend, Pete, just jam. They're like, what do you want to play? I'm like, I don't know, let's just do something. So we went up from like whatever time, like 9:30 to 9:45, and just whatever happened. And we called that the Two Shot Tequilas. That was the name of the band, the Two Shot Tequilas. So even whenever I see Mikey and I see Pete, like I'm like, hey, Two Shot Tequilas. Like whenever we're in a room together, we just kind of rep it out. But that day, Daniel was actually at Park City Music Hall just hanging out. He knew Mikey. I didn't know Daniel. We just jammed upstage, and then I met Daniel after that jam. And he was saying how he was looking for a bassist, and literally speaking, I was looking to play bass in a band. I'm like, I'm a guitarist, but I wanted to play bass in a band, you know? Like, I just want to have fun and rock out and throw my bass around and not have to worry about. So then, like, that next week, I saw, like, the iteration that they had of Internet Tears in Stanford and joined the band. And then, you know, Mikey joined the band, like, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. So it is a full circle thing. But it also started from my perspective, Mikey and I on stage, Daniel being there, and then, you know, Mikey's in the band now, like a couple of months later. So it is a full circle thing.
So now, how does Pete feel about this? Because he seems to be left out.
Pete was the bassist of Internet Tears.
Yeah, he was.
He was. And he was the drummer of Two Shot Tequilas.
Internet Tears.
And like all of his friends like took his spot.
Yeah. But you know, but it's funny. Like all the other members that used to be in the band, they're all in other bands, and they're all good. Like, you know, like but part of the reason why even those guys joined the band, and I feel like a part of the reason why we're all together is just because we like the music. They're just like one guy, like the first guitar player, he was a straight up metal guitar player. He's like, but you know what? I like you and I like the music, so I don't care. Let's play this music. And he like shows up with his like metal gear, trying to play this music. But I'm just like, thanks so much. Like, you know, like he was one of my good friends that I'd love to be in a band with anyway. And now he's in a successful metal band, and we root each other on. You know,
we bumped into him in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, actually.
Yeah, we ended up playing the same festival. Funny enough.
So I can continue on with this a bit. So yeah, here's I bought a PlayStation Vita from Daniel about 8 years after it came out, and I was for years I wanted to be in a band with the type of music we played. For a while, I was bandless. I had a high school band, and then I went to college. We kind of separated a bit, and then I only did jazz band and blues band in college as a class for fun. And I had a hard time finding a vocalist to do that kind of like indie pop style that I really wanted to play in. And so yeah, I was sketching on Daniel's Facebook, trying to make sure he wasn't like a serial killer or something before I met up with him. And yeah, like you said, he released the first song, Death and His Friends, and I'm like, I want to be a part of this. And we started talking, and I'm like, are you looking for a drummer? And then we started hanging out and played a little bit, kind of figured out what we want to do, and yeah,
it was like really Zach and I for a while. Now. It started off with just a duo, actually. You know, it was like a White Stripes deal. He was like the drummer. Like I was just like, you know, you need what it starts with the drummer. I felt. You know, once we have it, but it's not that Zach's just a drummer, you know, like Zach provides so much more to the band that like, he was like the missing piece, but I'm grateful that it's Zach because there is one other drummer that I've worked with, including Mikey, that we can like compare Zach to, but there's not a lot of people that like understand how to do like programming and synth parts and theatrical and like add to the show and do all these extra things that not necessarily a drummer would even do that Zach does and like loves to do and I'm just like, yo, since you do that, just do it, like just show us what you got, show us like the new intro or something.
You know, you just totally cut into exactly where I was going to go with this conversation. Because I want to know what each individual is bringing to the group, but I want to do it in a way that you guys may not have ever done before, right? Because it'd be really simple for me to go, "Hey, Esteban, what do you bring to the band?" Right? That'd be super easy, right?
Good looks and personality.
Okay, there you go. See? Now, here's the switch, though. Okay, I want to go around and have you guys talk about what the other guys bring to the band. Because I think that's super important, right? So a little bit of a quiz here. So, you know, let's see, we'll start with Zach, right? Tell us about like Daniel's strengths and how he elevates the band.
Okay. I think it boils down to two core things. Daniel is a really good singer, and he kind of has a great voice in the genre we're trying to make. And Daniel's also a really good songwriter. He's also a quick songwriter. I feel like 3 days will go by and like we get sent 4 new song demos and like it already has 2 verses and a chorus and a bridge, and it's like, how did you do that so fast? And as I think it's perfect for me too, because I love the technical side of music, but I don't really think of myself being as much of a writer. So Daniel, I'm really impressed with. I feel like Daniel has that kind of classic Bob Dylan roots of just being like a songwriter and just there's so many songs out there and so many ideas.
Nice. Esteban, how about Mikey? What's Mikey bring?
Mikey brings the bad boy energy. He brings the flavor, the sazon to the band. When Mikey's in the band, you got to keep your eyes and ears open because you never know where Mikey's going to be. Mikey's going to be here. Mikey's going to be there. And Mikey has that energy that like he literally just puts the band in a different category. I think that Mikey is a really great guy, really funny guy. He's got a good heart, and he just keeps it thumping on the bass, man. And I was the bassist of Internet Tears. And when the guitarist that we had when I was the bassist left, I was ready to play guitar. I was like, I know these parts more than anybody, and I'm not going to jump onto guitar until I trust the bassist. And when Mikey came in and played bass, it was natural. I mean, he was in Dan's band. We're 2 shot tequilas together, and like it was very natural. It like doesn't make sense any other way, and it makes me feel comfortable letting go of playing bass, which is something that I wanted to do specifically that I loved, and going into guitar, knowing that there's a solid rocking bassist that is doing everything that I would want to do as a bassist, so I can go and move on to guitar. So he provides that stability. He's that last key that definitely just puts everything together for sure. So, Mikey, I love you. You know what I'm saying, man?
Hell yeah, man.
All right, well, Mikey, tell us what Zach brings.
So yeah, like Esteban, I really think brings a lot to the table and everything.
Mikey,
Are we
Zach,
talking about,
Zach,
we're talking about Zach?
No, I know I don't like Zach. No, Zach. No, you guys messed up my joke. No, Zach, he's really technical, and coming from like a bass player kind of standpoint, connecting with him, it's really important that he and I are locked in. That kind of feels like it's a really like easy situation with it. He's, very he has his rudiments all together and stuff. He has a really good core and good foundation, and his like jazz background and everything. I have a bunch of different backgrounds with music, so it's like fun to be able to like just play something different just off the cuff. And I'm looking forward to hearing like all the different kind of new like samples and stuff. Like Daniel and I, we were in bands before where we, our drummer he had like his whole setup and stuff, and that's what he like really liked to do, have a passion for it. We've had other drummers in the past that kind of, do it or subpar with it, or, I play with a bunch of different people. You don't really find that so much. So, that creative ability and knowing how to, fully master, know what you're doing, and then, whatever kind of strikes, he's able to do it and stuff, and he's got a thick skin. So that's good. I like to make fun of people a lot and bullshit and kind of just shoot from the hip a lot. So that's been like, a fun thing to do. I've known Zach for a bit, but then when I joined the band, I had like 2 practices, and then we went to Pennsylvania for a show, and then New York for a show, and then something else. So it was like,
New Haven.
72 hours of just everyone together, 36 hours, everyone just all together really quick. So that was like, a good, judge of how everything's going to be and stuff. And, we didn't get in a fight or anything. That's pretty good stuff. I think we got a shit ton of Taco Bell. And then I think we also went dancing. I remember a disco ball. But it's good.
I remember Zach's pants.
Fun,
that's what I remember.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last up,
Thank you.
Daniel. Daniel, tell us about Esteban. What's he bringing?
Oh. Honestly, Esteban is probably like, I don't want to say this because of lack of better words. I don't like, but Esteban is probably the perfect guitar player for this band because he actually studies the music very well. He's like, he was like a fan before being in the band. So he'll come to band practice and he'll be like, "Hey, I noticed that you have 3 guitar parts here, and one of them's like this." And then he'll start playing, and I'm like, "Yeah."
He's like, "Did you know this
How
part's
did
here?"
you
It's
know
like,
that?
"Yeah, you wrote it."
Like, I didn't, and he's like, "Oh, I like," he's like, "But like, that's really important because there's this 4th guitar part that's on the backtrack, and now the song doesn't sound like," he's like checking me on my own music. That's how much he knows it. And when it comes down to knowing the music, him playing it, and him first starting on bass, like he was saying, and now guitar, it's just like, even with his tones, and I mean, it's come down to the point where now, like, we've been a band together to where we could really hone in on the sounds and work on each song sounding as good as the records. And, Esteban has this really care for that, for working on his sound and working on his part and aspect to the band. And he always says he's always here to enhance and not dilute. And I feel like he's always like he's always like honored that, like that he's always been there to actually do those things, and I respect him. And there's even been times where he stood up for the music. He loves the music so much. He loves just like how everything is, that he's like, yo, you like, I like support this so much, you know? So I think that he's a great team member and a great leader and a great creative. And he comes from not just being like, he's a guitar player and bass player, but a singer and his own stuff. So he was his own lead singer. So he's a great musician that I respect everybody in the band, you know. But when I send out a demo and I don't hear back from Esteban, like I don't take that lightly either. I'm like, maybe like I need to do some work, maybe, because he gets the music, I think, at the most. No offense to everybody else in the bands, but Esteban gets it. Like, he hears the song and he's like, dude, I get what you're saying, what you're doing, and all the vibes, you know. So,
I have a PhD in
he's a
internet
perfectionist at heart. He's a perfectionist. Maybe it's like a lead singer type of thing, or a songwriter, or something, or a musician. But he's that kind of guy that's like, I want to get this shit sounding right, and I really respect Esteban for everything he's done.
Wow, you guys are amazing. You know each other. You weren't afraid to compliment when I said, you know. We could start something here, because, you know, people love to talk about themselves. I could start a whole podcast on like band therapy, right?
Yeah,
it's like everybody wants to hug at the end. This is kind of cool. I don't know what you think, but this is kind of fun.
Your next band is going to be Oasis.
They're back.
Well, all right. Well, you know what? Let's talk about Oasis, should we? All right. How many of you think they're actually going to make it to the first show?
For sure.
I know nothing about this band, but our old guitarist loves Oasis.
We'll see if they come to the U.S. We'll see if they get their UK stuff taken care of first.
Here, old guitarist
that'll be a good
Oasis.
kind of thing.
If Oasis doesn't make it to the first show, our friend Chris is going to be very upset about that.
Yeah, Chris
one of our
is
friends
literally
is
the number one Oasis fan.
Yeah, he's trying to.
I think they're already taking odds in Vegas.
Yeah,
I think there are odds makers taking Vegas. So,
yeah,
but we're not here to talk about Oasis, but they made news this week. But we're here to make news about you guys. So, first of all, the name of the band, Internet Tears? How did that come about? Just naming a band is hard enough, but Internet Tears, were you sobbing over a computer? I mean, what was going on there?
It's kind of
can I tell them what I imagined first before you say it? When I first heard the name of the band, Internet Tears, I loved it immediately. But I totally imagined like Daniel like behind the computer, like on Reddit, like just like crying about something, like Internet Tears and everything. And that's how I saw it. And then he has an actual story about it, but that's how I imagined it first and foremost.
I mean, it's sort of like literally literal. You know, it's kind of, I mean, it's the idea of being emotional on the internet, kind of having this new age type of thing, but also like, just like, I don't know, just like, it's a part of like the angst of the band a little bit. I'm just trying to give you a little bit more than what I've ever said before about it, to be honest. But honestly, I was on the internet, and I happened to come across Internet Tears together. And it was like, I don't know, I think it was like a song or something. I was like, and then like, it was at the time I had on my phone like a list of band names, you know, and I feel like I'm usually the guy in the bands to be like, hey, there's no band name yet. What about this? Like, I name the titles, I come up with lyrics. So I usually like throw things at band members anyway. I feel like that's kind of the recipe of how this band works too. I'm like, I just present things, but I just kind of felt that for what the sound and the vibe of this project, or the bands as well. Also, like, it started off with just me, and I just didn't think it was cool to be like a solo. Like, this is Daniel Lewis. Daniel Lewis in the band? I mean, that's it. Like,
Daniel and the Lewis.
Maybe now.
Well, that's like a Catch 'Em at the Hyatt on a Friday night kind of name.
But I just didn't care whether it was cool or not to be in a band. I just want to keep a band. I love bands. I still like my favorite artists are still bands. You know, I mean, I love singers, I love pop, I love that, but like overall, like keeping it a band, it's a group, you know. And I liked that idea, and I liked just the idea of having like a name on a T-shirt that wasn't my name, like something, you know, like something. So I think for what it was when it started, and every single chapter of Internet Tears, the band name will always make sense, no matter what realm we end up tapping into a little bit.
I thought maybe you go from Internet Tears V1 to V2 to V3 to V4.
Oh,
and
really?
you can just use Roman numerals.
5.0.
Yeah,
We've said that.
They can be. It can be like software upgrades. Every time you get a new member. So
Daniel, you're next.
So, all right. So you've gotten 3 singles this year: "Death and Friends," which you talked about a little earlier. "I Want You," right? And then your most recent one, "Feels Like Summer." I want to like walk through these as well as some future songs. And under the idea, because everybody who's watching better go to your YouTube channel, and if you look below, they're going to have it's gonna be below. Go check out their videos. I'm going to tell you, if you see the "Feels Like Summer," Daniel, you can tell that when he was in school, took typing class. That's all I'm going to give away. No other spoilers, but he's one massive typer. He's got that typing thing down in that video. You had to rehearse that for a while, I bet. So, what's the process? Right, Daniel, you mentioned earlier you bring up some ideas, but this band is an amalgamation, right? So what's the process of you guys kind of formulating and bringing different things to songs to make them what they are with these 3 singles and the stuff you're working on now?
So actually, it was a whole, like, I feel like even though I started the band and then like there were stages, it was just me and Zach, and then we ended up getting a group, and then now it is the way it is today. We've been through so many chapters and stages coming to this point. I mean, starting a band, right? Being a musician. I mean, it's not like my first band, but I feel like but I feel like it's like I'm starting over again. You know, I feel like it's like a new band, like a new beginning, you know, and it feels like your very first band almost again when you're working with new people and doing different things. But with these 3 songs, each song was, well, each of them were brought by me, but the way they were made were all a little different. And I feel like now after our newest single, "Feels Like Summer," we're to this point now that like we're at a brand new chapter, as well as the beginning, the like actual, it's like "Feels Like Summer" is a new hope in Star Wars. Like this was the beginning. You know, like the grand beginning, and everything was like maybe the prequels to what this was in a way, to like even songwriting and how we've evolved as a band. And I think approaching, like going into the studio and working with Black Barrel and seeing what worked and what didn't work, there was a lot of figuring things out. Now working with a label and not being independent anymore, and me not being in my room on a laptop and it being just like anybody else. It was just like, you know, I think that like working with Black Barrel has been really stress-free as well, because every time we're like, hey, can we just work on some of this? They're always like, let's do it to perfection, to the way you want it, to the way things should be. It's always been great. And, you know, the first songs were brought to the label as like a revamp and a remaster. And they were kind of an introduction to who we are. And we chose, together with Black Barrel, "Death and His Friends" as the very first introduction, which originally in 2020 was the original introduction of the band. But this version is just, sound quality wise, just way nicer to listen to, you know? And same thing with "I Want You," you know, we wanted to have our listeners, even if we had previous listeners and new listeners, have a higher quality, better representation of the songs that we found that were very definitive to who we were. And Feels Like Summer was the next step after those two songs. And that was the first song that we actually brought and recorded fully at Black Barrel Records. And we learned so much from that experience, but it was really awesome. Like, is there anything that you guys want to mention about that experience? The song Feels Like Summer?
For me, it was great to get the live drums on there, because most of the early songs don't have live drums, and especially for a song like Feels Like Summer, was kind of like a full band sound. I was really happy to kind of like get my own self onto the songs and hear it up on Spotify and everything. That was also my first time working with the producer recording drums. Usually I do it myself. So James is in there. We were kind of like bouncing ideas of like, what if you try this? What if I try this? And it was fun.
We learned what to do and what not to do.
Yes, that too.
But I think that anything in the world, if you think that you are going to find perfection, you're just digging down the wrong hole. And there's never going to be perfection in anything. And you just have to accept that it's not going to be perfect. And you have to go through the gritty, mucky trials and tribulations to get through to a version 1, you know? And there's people that will spend 10 years, like Axl Rose with Chinese Democracy, like creating an album that, like, you know, took 10 years to create. And I think that having a version 1 and putting something and stamping it is very important. And there's a lot of punches you have to roll with. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made. And again, nothing in the world is going to be perfect. So yeah, that's art. And I think that while we recorded Feels Like Summer, and while we picked apart and pieced together and created what you hear on Spotify, I think we've learned a lot about ourselves. We've learned a lot about the way that we need to work together with not just like the 4 of us, but the record label, the producers, the organization. And I think that it's just a learning curve. And I think that who we are now as a band is much stronger than we've ever been. Now we have 3 singles under our belt. We have the recording experience under the belt. We've gone to Lancaster with the record label. We have that under our belt. We have a bunch of shows that we played in 3 different states between the 3 of us, you know, that have already kind of like started to grow roots. And I really genuinely think that like now is the best time to be in Internet Tears. Like we're definitely primed to be in just the best position because we have all the experience that we have already accumulated. So looking forward, I'm very excited about it.
That's cool. That's cool. You know, we're gonna take a left turn here because Esteban, you and Daniel brought up 2 things that became counter one another. That's actually been in conversations that I've been having here on the Hang recently, right? Perfection, right? The demo, the start of the song. You're never going to get perfection. But even after you've recorded it, is the song really done? And what I mean by that is when you're painting and you put oil on canvas and it dries, you put it on the wall and it hangs there, right? But are you the kind of guys where once the song is done in the studio, you get out live and you're adding, and you're changing, and you're ever evolving a song? Or are you delivering exactly the same thing night after night? What are your philosophies on that? Because Daniel was talking about trying to get perfection. You're talking about there is no perfection, but is the song really ever done? And what do you guys? What are your philosophies on that? What are your thoughts? Mikey's got something. Mikey's bubbling here. Tell us, Mikey.
I like to, you know, play like the record and stuff. Keep it all together, you know. Play it on the record, but you know, it doesn't get boring at all with it. But you know, maybe different inflections, different accents and stuff. Maybe take it personalize it a little bit. But you know, it's a moment kind of thing. You know, it's you know how it feels and stuff. You know, sometimes you can't help it. It's just a really good show, and then you're like, oh shit, did you hear that part and stuff? Like you know, just you have a weird connection. Zach and I were doing a like a local like Porch Fest is like what it's called, and it's like a community by the water, and there's something like 90 bands that play throughout like the whole day, and it's kind of like a potluck kind of thing, big neighborhood kind of thing. And Zach and I, we didn't really practice really so much with it. We played with another friend of ours, just like a quick spur of the moment. But there were like multiple parts, like where Zach and I just like kind of clicked into it, and it was just so spontaneous that that was just like a random cover show, whatever. But even with our live shows that we had when we were in the city, there still were like a few little things like, oh, we didn't do that at practice, like, oh shit, like I didn't see that, like at practice, I practice, try to perform it, like you're gonna be playing it live and everything. But when you're playing live, I don't know, it's different. It's up to interpretation.
What is the question more about? Well, you're saying, is the song done? So you're saying, as in, do we ever feel, even after the fact, like, oh shit, there coulda, woulda, shoulda? So, I feel
yes.
like out of everybody in the band, I'm the one person that says it's done. I'll even come with the demo and be like, you know what?
It's done.
Don't touch it. And then people start touching, and then I'm like, okay, but the thing is, it's when you're like that too, like don't touch it, it's done type of thing. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because you can say it's done, don't touch it, and then there's you might be losing some potential there, in my opinion. I've learned that, just being a musician and working with people and producers, and Mikey can say the same thing for me too. Like I've just kind of learned that creating, even with producers, I feel like even with the art that I've made, it's always made it better, just a little bit better, or just hearing out an opinion, so it's not like, it's not like the dictatorship of internet tiers where I'm like, this is the song whether you like it or not. Absolutely not. And that's not like, oh, these are the songs and that's it. I'll always come up with an idea, and then like sometimes it just depends on like the actual idea too, because sometimes I'm like Zach said, like it could be done, where I'm like, it has all the elements, you got the instrumental, the vocals, you got it all, it's here. Here's a draft. Or you have some, like bullshit with some hums and some other ideas, but it sounds really, I'm like, what do you guys think of this? Should I even do anything with it? So that's where, like we I take feedback and we can work together on things, and I'll even take, like there's 1,000 times where I've heard, electronic drums suck by Zach. Please let me do some cool drums. And, I'll be honest, he's not wrong. He's not wrong with some of it. I make some basic stuff, but that's sometimes it's like indie writing, and sometimes indie writing has that basic drum part. So sometimes, and like even Esteban will say, it's necessary to have some kind of just driving drum part that just kind of has that simplicity to it. But like, like there's like I Want You, where it didn't have the drums that it has on it when originally. But Zach's like, yo, let me give a crack at these drums. Let me just add these drums. And he recorded it at his house, and it sounds great. And we brought it to the studio, and he's like, yo, these drums are great. I'm just going to make them sound a little bit nicer, but this is really good shit. And I just feel like at the end of it, by the time the song's done, we're all like, that was good. Does anybody else feel like it's not done?
I feel like with Daniel's music, like I'm a genuine fan of Daniel's music. Like Daniel said, like I've always said, like I want to enhance Daniel's music, not dilute it. Like I don't want to bring too much Esteban into it because I'm a fan of what Daniel does. But there are some times where Daniel will send a demo, and I'm like, it's got something, but it's not 100% there. So I'll tell them, hey, like this is here, this is cool, like, but there's nothing here that you need to double this up. This is great, like this, you need to bring this back up this way, or maybe there's a song that I'm like, I'm gonna keep on scrolling or something like that.
It takes me like 4 or 5 shitty songs to come out with one good song.
But I always like to listen to Daniel's stuff.
It's true. I'll come up with like and some of them 4 out of 5 they're like really bad. They're like, what were you on? What is this? And then sometimes I'll send a song. I'm like, well, it's pretty good. It's done. And then Zach's like, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Feels Like Summer. I was obsessed with.
You love this shit.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Feels Like Summer from the get-go. When we listened to it for the first time, I was like, oh, I called Daniel after the meetup. I'm like, dude, that song, man, that song. I was like obsessed with it. I probably listened to Feels Like Summer like 700 times in the car before we even went to the studio. Like I was obsessed with the song forever. And just to like completely finish the question, also like and to like maybe segue into something else, is just like a part of the reason why it's like everybody kind of enjoys being in the band as well is because I'm always trying to like bring different elements into Internet Tears from different genres, but do it in a way that doesn't sound like I'm just trying to do it, like with our new songs. Like, I mean, honestly, it all comes from a lot of influences from a lot of the stuff I'm around and listening to, but we all love, like with our newer song that we're working on right now, we do have elements of like chuggy, heavier aspects, but Internet Tears is still there. You still have that like synth pop, like synthesizers, all these like elements going on, but we're just adding now. We're just growing and showing that, it's not like you're gonna hear one song off the record and then hear like 5 songs or 6 songs that kind of sound like this one song. We're like a band where you might hear a song and then 5 songs later you're like, this sounds like the band, like I hear it, but like they're really not afraid to try something like what they want to do, and I think that's the whole reason why like I made this band. And what should you should expect a little bit of the unexpected, a little, but like the things that make sense. It's because we just do things that we like enjoy listening to, what inspire us, and what we want to make, not just like something that just like kind of exactly makes sense. Otherwise that would be like boring for us all. Internet Tears cast a wide umbrella.
So I have a little bit to add about the song finishing part. I think is a song ever done? No, it's not. But you have to have the intuition to know when to walk away from it. I think is a large part of the coin. Because you could work on a song for twice as long if you want, but you might lose what's there. You might overthink it. Especially I feel like in the mixing stage, you can definitely be like, okay, if I move this up 0.2 decibels and like rebounce the whole song, it's like you're overthinking it then. So it's a really great question. Do I go back and listen to some things and be like, oh, what if I played this instead? But at the same time, there's a certain essence of when you stamp it, that's how it is. And that's also what live is for. It's kind of what Mikey was saying. You can kind of, when you're playing live, just give a little bit of a different spin. Like as an example for I Want You, there's a sax solo at the end. We don't have a sax player in the band, so instead we have Esteban do a guitar solo.
You didn't make Esteban learn how to play sax?
I channel my inner saxophonist.
Well, let's get into that a little bit. What are your live shows like? I mean, what can people expect when they come out to see you play, right? You've got these songs. I'm going to imagine, you tell me if I'm wrong, you're possibly covering some other songs to fill in a set, right? possibly those have influence over musical genres and tastes that you have. What can people expect when they come out to see you guys play? Except for they're not going to find a saxophone. Except that you're not going to have a saxophone player.
No, there's
I like
saxophone actually in it. We have saxophone, not a play. We had a saxophone player once.
We did once, yeah.
We did.
So the live show, yeah, the live show is kind of my baby. That's my favorite part of the band is playing live, and I do a lot of the programming for our set. We run backtracks. I play to the click. I'm kind of like the tech guy
Pyrotechnics.
when it comes to. I wish when it comes to our live show, but I think like summing it up, our live show is tight. It's not too long. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say short, but it's kind of like short and sweet. I feel like we don't overstay our welcome. And there's a lot of energy. I think we all get super sweaty, especially me. I'm usually gasping for air and water on like song number 3, breaking some sticks. But there's a lot of energy. I feel like live, all of our songs kind of has like an extra 10 to 20% of an edge and feeling to it. And we like to get, Daniel could speak to this more, but like to get the crowd involved and kind of get people up and dancing to certain songs. But then like our punkier songs, we love to see people get a little moshy depending on the situation. So I think our live shows are a lot of fun, and they're kind of I like to treat them as special events.
Yeah, I think like that's a good like we get a little edgier. I like that, like about 10 to 20%. That's like a good definition. I think that everything Zach said was a very good description, but I think the reason to that is like, someone's told me once that like it's like internet tears is like it's like like punk rock music disguised as like synth pop, so we have like
it's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
There's well, if you actually listen to like our very first records, like specifically the song called "Think About You," that's one of our favorite songs that we enjoy playing live. That one of the biggest influences was this like small London artist Tom Veck, as well as just more of like a post-hardcore kind of feel to it, with kind of like a neon trees sort of vibe to it. But I feel that even songs that don't even have real bass, that have maybe just a synth bass, like the song "Okay," for example, when we play these songs live, it does have more of like a punk rock feel and aspect to it. So we've played awesome like garage shows to to like the skateboard punk rock scene, and it's been really fun to be able to like be in that scene a little. I always feel like I'm the singer of that band that's just super different in the scene, but maybe it's just because like I'm always like trying to like just do what I want to do, and maybe it's just not the same. I don't know, but that's just kind of
Well, then we've done shows with kind of like solo flamboyant pop artists too, and we kind of fit into both.
Yeah,
I try to be as flamboyant as possible up on stage.
Do you wear a flamingo a hat with feathers and a boa and all that stuff?
Wait, did you hear about my next outfit already? Who told you that?
Well, I did hear you guys do like 4 or 5 outfit changes in a show. It's a combination between like going to a Liberace Cher extravaganza.
We're usually talking about outfits the day before the show. We usually try to like get on the same theme for the different shows.
Yeah, you don't put that in the interview. Don't talk about that. That's a secret, man. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, shit. Now we're gonna have to interview the stylist too. Hang on.
But you can cut that out, right? No, he's like, it's unedited. No, it's not gonna be out. They're gonna know that now.
So far this year, you got signed to a label. You got 3 singles out. It's been an exciting year for you guys. What's in store for like the last couple of months, if you can believe we're actually heading into the end of the year already? And what's coming up in 25? What can we expect?
The band doesn't even
more shows.
More cowbell.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they expect. I know the real deal. No, I'm just kidding.
Exploring different ideas with the music.
We just, it's all been about Feels Like Summer, and we're coming, and it's funny, like right when we're at the end of the summer is right when Feels Like Summer is about to end, like our songs campaign and like us talking about it onto our next songs and what to expect, right? So, we've been talking and figuring out and sending things, and now we have a new way of how we're going to go about approaching this new recording and kind of like keeping the sounds and the tones and everything like very definitive towards our band. So we do have a new song that we're working on, and
is the title of the song "Here Comes Winter"?
That's a good one.
Feels like the winter.
I don't know. I don't know if we can attach this one to a season, but it definitely has. It definitely has like this new. It's something. Just it's not what you would expect. I feel like it's what you would expect from our band, but it's not Feels Like Summer. It's gonna feel like something else.
Feels like something
no pun
else.
It's gonna feel like something else, and
I can see a whole theme for singles. It feels like seasons. Feels like seasons.
Christmas.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do like a holiday song. I swear, I've always wanted to do a Christmas song. Every time Christmas comes around, I don't know. It's just like I think it's because like a couple of my favorite artists have come out with Christmas songs recently, holiday songs. Where I'm just like, why not? Like how about just like a holiday song or something? But that's just always been on like in my head, I guess, just to have done it. It never really happens. But
so we're gonna get into the politics of the band in the next question. Who gets what voted for?
Yeah, but we're definitely we love adding visuals to our music. So it's really like I love creating films. I love doing I love creating the videos. We make all the videos ourselves, and I do like as I love doing that. I wouldn't mind working with other people. So maybe within the future having our music videos even be elevated. But we're definitely trying to work on a new song and a new video and just keep the ball rolling with some new stuff for the next couple months.
So you mentioned collaboration. So this is each of you get to answer this question, okay? All right. If there was outside of the band, because obviously you guys get to work with one another, if there was an artist that you could get into a studio with for a day to write with, who would that artist be and why? Zach.
Making me go first.
Just
honestly, the first person I thought of was Nick Surs. I believe that's how you say his name. He's the drummer of the band Vinyl Theater. He's a really awesome drummer. He's also the producer of the band, and their recent songs are really awesome sonically, and I love his drum parts and the way the drums are recorded. So like directly as like a drummer and producer, he was the first one I thought of. It'd be really cool. I've talked to him briefly a little bit. He's a cool guy.
Well, you never know. Maybe he'll watch this and he'll go, "Hey, you know what? I got to get Zach in the studio." Esteban, how about you?
So when I was in high school, there was a band called Moving Mountains, and they were one of the most influential, jaw-dropping, life-changing waves of what the hell, how is this even happening type thing. There's something about them, like when they played, it's like you walked away with just like this weird, I don't know if it's energy or emptiness. You're just like, what? It's just like, I can't believe it, And Greg Dunn, he is the singer of that band. I mean, they've been disbanded for a long time, but he is a producer, and I feel like if I were to pick my dream producer, it would definitely be Greg Dunn, because I feel like he would definitely have a really cool aesthetic, and he would be able to kind of just mold what we're doing into just something that would be just, I don't know, very elegant or something. It's just this incredible touch, just very artistic person, and I feel like it would be just like awesome.
Cool. Mikey, you look like you've been very contemplative here. You may have a couple people on your list. Who made the top? Who made it the top of the list, Mikey?
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I've been liking Youngblood a lot right now. And stuff from the UK.
Why are you underwater, bro?
Yeah, you were.
Oh, does it sound bad?
Yeah,
No,
what did you
better
say?
now. A little better.
Uh-oh. Mikey, come back.
Mikey got mad and left.
Come back. There he is. So who you want to work with?
We can't hear you at all.
Yo, Zach, you go.
I already win.
I mean, sorry, Daniel, you go.
I have the answer already.
I mean, I know Daniel's answer.
Are we losing Mikey? Mikey, are you okay over there?
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can't hear you. You're muted now. Oh. No, you're unmuted.
It's always Mikey. Let me.
You know what? You know he's
in the band. No, I'm just kidding.
He'll be the mime in the band. He can be the band mime.
Yeah, well, Mike, just explain what you're trying to say in interpretive dance.
Take the AirPods out and just use that might help. Just change your input.
Yes, Mr. Technical.
There you go. Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
Oh, wow, that sounds
there. We can hear you again.
That's good.
Oh, hi.
That sounds like high definition now. So answer the question. Who are you
cool.
gonna work with?
Yeah. I don't know. I like a lot of artists. I've been liking Youngblood a lot right now and stuff.
You know what?
Like the same kind of energy though. That'd be fun.
Really? I don't want him to work with Internet Tears.
Why not? That'd be
he seems like a nice
sick.
guy. I don't know.
I think
you know what? Put me on. Put me on, Mikey. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
I'm just
like some fun UK kind of stuff. I don't know. I feel like that would be a lot of fun. That'd be cool. I've been liking that recently.
Mm-hmm. All right, Daniel, how about you?
All right, I'm like taking in the whole Youngblood thing. No, I don't want anybody. No, Internet Tears not anti-Youngblood. I like Youngblood. I like the song he did with MGK. But actually, before I do, I just want to say I respect.
Yo, Modson would be cool.
He's making that festival. All right, so I like that about him. But I just like to bust Mikey's balls. I was surprised to hear that was your answer, Mikey. Seriously, because what I'm about to say, my answer, I would think, it's not something that I think I would like as much, but I feel like most of the bands would be like, that would be really cool if we worked with this artist.
So this is for us, not for you.
No, it's for me. It's for me. This is out of anybody I choose, and it's funny enough. I've already worked with the guy before.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
But I'm telling you, I wouldn't go anywhere else. But like, if they're like, all right, just give me one guy, put him in a room.
Oh, Johnny Frank.
It's gonna be Johnny Frank.
Johnny Frank, 100%.
From Bill Murray.
Yeah.
All right. He was the original singer and songwriter for this band called Attack Attack. They're a metalcore heavy band.
They're like a Warped Tour band.
Yeah, they were that kind of band where they started off, and
I
don't know, maybe what was it, like 2010?
Yeah.
I had the privilege of like going to his house in Ohio when he, lived with his parents at the time, and I recorded a song with him, and I like listened back, and I'm like, yo, he sung the harmonies. Like he was on the song too. I mean, he tried his best to like make our song good at the time, but the reason why I would want to work with him is because I find that the reason why he's even successful to this day is because and like a lot of people would expect me to say like Matty Healy of the 1975.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's what they all thought I was going to say. I like Matty Healy and I like the 1975, but when it comes down to like having an artist and working with somebody and having the certain mind that Johnny Frank has, it's something that is, I find like extremely unique as a musician and a producer, because he's coming up with so many different elements from genres that I wouldn't believe would even fit in the music that he's making right now. Like it just like it almost like doesn't even make sense in how he makes it make sense. And I find that like when you're genre bending and creating some like new sounds from a genre that you're comfortable with, I think that's part of the reason why I'm like, you know, to have somebody to be like, hey, I check this out, and it's just like something that I would consider mind blowing to the point that's like fresh and unique. I
Really
think that
creative
that's
guy.
what Johnny Frank as a producer really provides, like today. So yeah.
So hey, everybody who watches, and thank you everybody for sticking around with us. This has been a great. We may end up with a whole entire new type of like hang, which is like band therapy session, which could be really cool. Maybe we'll bring some professionals. Maybe we'll just go out and find bands in chaos and bring them in. I don't know. But as we kind of turn the corner,
click here.
bandsinchaos.com. So one thing I like to do, and people who watch these on a regular know that, you know, I'm a big proponent of purchasing art, right? What you create is audio art. It's no different than buying a painting and put on your wall, right? We don't rent art. We buy art. So I'm a big proponent. Everybody today who's listening, go out, buy a song or two from Internet Tears. They won't cry so much. They'll be happier. But what I do like to do, though, is share the love of music, because I think it's important that we talk about, you know, things that people were listening to, a band, an artist, whatever's our earworm that we're really finding some inspiration, or like it's that song you can't put down, or that album, right, that you can't put down. So just to kind of wrap things up, we'll go through. I'm going to go to Zach first, because I think Zach's the most prepared for this. But think of like 2 or 3 artists. And Daniel, I know you're a big Swiftie, so we'll just take that one right off the, you know. But think of a couple people, a song that they're doing that you really just dig, and you think other people who are watching this would really enjoy experiencing, and they should try it out. Okay, so Zach, how about you? Go first.
Yeah, so this album came out this year. I've been obsessed with it.
Fuck, Zach.
It's such an awesome album. So it's called Kyo Rio from Last Dinosaurs. They're a Australian indie rock band.
They're a good band. Top 5.
I think there's such they have such a cool sound to them, and they're self-produced. I met them. That's how I got this album signed. I met them about 2 months ago at their show in New York, and they played a little show there, and it was so much fun. They were super nice to me, and they met everybody who came to. They did like a pop-up merch shop like in the venue downstairs, and this album does just so many cool ideas. It's like a loose concept album about like a dystopian future where an AI satellite is generating music after like all life has been destroyed, and the album just has so many riffs where like you don't really hear a lot of indie artists doing concept albums, and all the songs flow into each other. And there's this one song, NPD, where like the last minute of it is this like a cappella that sounds like the Beach Boys, and they're singing certain lyrics that end up transitioning to the next song, but the next song is this fast poppy guitar driven song, and then the lyrics repeat. So it's super, super cool. And that was also one of their singles they released, which is risky. You never really see. It's like, oh, it's a 5 minutes long song, and like the last minute of it is bullshit until like the album came out, and you're like, oh, the song after it is like part 2. It's super cool, and I love it. And not to take up too much time, but my second option is
There you
going to
go.
be
We got
from
2
my
of them.
favorite band
Wow.
ever. This is a insane artwork. But this band is called Your Neighbors. They're basically a solo guy working with expert level producers from Nashville, I believe. I met him last year around this time, and it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. Their music is unlike anyone else. Their songs are production masters. I mean, it's like you take Skrillex and you combined it with indie pop. Their songs just like out of nowhere will just dive into these like random dubstep kind of things, and vocally it's really interesting, and each song is its own thing. There's no two songs that sound alike from Your Neighbors, and this is their shirt.
Nice. Mikey wants to get one out because he looks like excited.
I have a tattoo from one of their songs right here.
Oh, nice. So Mikey's got one or two in his head.
Yeah.
He's thinking about. Even though you might have stolen one because he was like totally on board. But what do you got? What do you think, Mikey?
So there's a band that Daniel and I, we toured with two of the members, and now they're like really starting to blow up and stuff. They're called the Funeral Portrait. They're a band. They're from Michigan, and they're kind of like, I don't know, like rock from like 2008, kind of like My Chemical Romance, very theatrical kind of stuff, very like bohemian kind of band. I don't know, what would you call it, like goth rock? Not, I don't know, maybe kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you know, like black and white, you know, Beetlejuice kind of looking, neon colors and stuff. They're on a dope tour right now. I'm really happy.
I think they're, if you know Ice Nine Kills, they're a good comparison.
Yeah, they're a good comparison.
They're theatrical, Crown the Empire could be not really. Maybe they're more towards the emo rock for sure. But they, I think that's a cool thing that you mentioned that, Mikey, because
most definitely.
You really like in general that kind of style too.
Yeah, it's like goes like to like kind of classic kind of stuff that I like. Their single "Suffocate" stuff is really good, and they're on like a major tour right now, so I'm really happy with them. So anytime I can plug them, Funeral Portrait, they're dope group of guys.
Yeah. Daniel, how about you?
It's like I think during the seasons sometimes I listen to different types of music, and sometimes I go back to some of the artists I've listened to years ago. But one band that seems to always stick around, and they literally stick around because they've been together for so long, and then they end up still coming out with records, and they've come out with so many records that even their newest record, I'm like, wait, I forgot that they came out with like another record. So then I started listening to their like previous record and being like, oh, this is really good. But I always feel like every time they come out with records, there's always like one or two songs like that year, whatever, that I'm like, one of the best songs I heard. And that that band is 4 Years Strong.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's not something that you typically hear from me. But I come from like, a heavy rock, post-hardcore, indie rock is, like what I love as well. I love like Dayglow. I've been listening to like this new artist, Tommy Richmond's pretty cool too. This song called Selfish, it's like that kind of has this like Prince kind of classic Michael Jackson vibe. I love music like that, but I'll tell you, 4 Years Strong, they're very definitive. They know how to make the music they create so well. But the reason why I'm recommending anybody to listen to them is, even if they you can understand like why I like it, because they're really like confessional and really brutally honest in how they write their lyrics. It's like so relatable. It could be like one line, like "get out of my head," and it's just like the way they're singing it with the music is just extremely impactful. And I just feel like their new album that just came out, and it looks like there's like this like Muppet at the album art. It's really funny.
They have sick album art.
Yeah.
The album art is sick.
Me and Mikey were bumping that album. But they're definitely a band that I've always loved, and that is like it. Without that band also in my life, I don't think that I'd also be like who I am musically. So it's cool to like still see that band coming out with records and surviving and just being an awesome band. So I recommend them and recommend their new music, because their new music, like you could see trending, it's like the new hits. They have so many albums, but it's still like no matter what, they're always topping something. So just listen to them.
Awesome. All right, we saved the best for last, right, Esteban?
Hell yeah! Woo! Ready? Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this? I have a bunch of bands, but I'm gonna stick to 2, and the reason why is because there's 100 things that I can say, and I can go the route that everyone knows these bands. I can go with a really, really obscure band to make me sound cool. But I'm going to use this opportunity to shout out 2 artists from our local music scene that are completely out of the genre, but they're just really, really good, and I think they deserve a shout out. You guys must check out Pangea World Beat. They are this incredible band with so much rich everything. It's one of my favorite bands in Black Rock, the little neighborhood in Bridgeport that we live in and that everyone comes to hang out in. Pangea World Beat is absolutely, like, if you listen to the album that just came out from front to back, it is perfect. They deserve an award for that.
Like Pangea, like
Pangea,
like
Pangea,
the whole like Earth was one Pangea.
Yeah. At least Daniel paid attention.
I don't know this band.
Class.
I live like right down the street. I don't know Pangea.
Dude, they're good.
No, they're
so good
for it.
And the next band the next artist that I will shout out, I've shouted out maybe once or twice in interviews before, but I actually think she's incredible, and I think that this artist called Madeline with 2 L's, Madeline. She just moved from Connecticut to LA, so she's out there trying to pursue music in LA, and she has a lot of great music that kind of just like plays to a lot of the millennial dread that a lot of us feel. But there's this one EP that she came out with called Noise Complaints. It's 15 minutes long, and again, I listened to that thing front to back at least 3 or 4 times a day for like my whole summer last year. Noise Complaints from Madeline. The whole EP.
Yo, can I just say something about that? I happen to come across this song. One ear is like French and one ear is fucking English, and it's going on the same time. I'm like listening to it. I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah, she has a song called Dopamine that she released in English and in French, and then she released a version of the song that has English on one pan and French on the other at the same time, and it's incredible. Cool. But Noise Complaints, the EP. Check that out. Pangea World Beat, check that out for sure. Hands down, if you guys don't like it, find me.
All right. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate Daniel, what have you just done? Look at Daniel's got fireworks and thumbs up. What did you who put you in control? All right. Well, guys, this has been great. Thank you so much for hanging. This is our first time having an entire band on. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. We covered a lot of ground, stayed on topic, got off topic, learned about each other, had a little band therapy. Make sure you guys enjoyed working with each other. Everybody who joined us, thanks so much. Oh yeah, and don't forget, Daniel is one hell of a typist. So maybe if you email him, he'll get on the keyboard. We'll put all the information for you to be able to find the band down below. Check them out, buy their music, keep supporting your local bands, enjoy music. We're going to keep bringing you more artists here on The Hang. Make suggestions down below, subscribe, tell your friends. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. This has been a real blast, and what a way to have a group hang. This was a lot of fun, so I appreciate it. Thanks so much.